How's it going, everybody, and welcome to another ride along with RONIN 47R as we take a look at, a very first look at, the hammer and the Kanonenjagdpanzer. We're going to go ahead and get it, do a little compare and contrast, look underneath the hood, dress them up, and get them ready to take out. So sit back, relax, and let me know what you think. And welcome to another ride along with RONIN 47R. We have a special edition here. We have the new update that just came out. What is this? August 16th, at midnight last night. It is the following day. I was not going to stay up in the middle of the night to do that. And once it's updated, which you can see before you, we have a brand new screen, new kind of interface here. So we're going to explore this thing together from start to finish, and then we're going to jump in and take a look at the hammer and the cannon. So we have here, select game mode, fight your way to victory, PvP, earn powerful new tanks, complete challenges off, okay, kind of a imaging of the same thing. Okay, whoa, join with, okay, yeah, because it's total 5, and so you can see here, they're just relabeling how to, what each item is. So it's, for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much the same thing. So you jump in there you go, it's the garage. What is going on there, huh? Let me go ahead and put this guy away, because I was messing around last night with Mr. T34 during my clan tuning, and you'll be seeing that video coming out later today as well, in addition to this one. I actually, wait for it, I actually edited for once in a long time. That's hilarious. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in the store, because that was the whole point, guys. It's the hammer and the Kanon. First of all, I'm just going to knock these things out and take a quick look, see if I'm missing out on anything. So you got some boost action. You have some crew junk there. And wow, that's pretty much it. There's no silver. There's nothing. Interesting. Okay, back to tanks. Opening that up, and what do you have? You have the Mega Pack. Now, let me start from the other side. So it looks like they have the mutants back on sale, 16% off. I already own these things, but just kind of announcing it for you and just kind of analyzing, kind of seeing how the market is going. I like to see what they're doing. This guy here, I love that tank. That is such a fun tank. Wow, 1200 for a tier 2. Well, this is a very rare tank, but I would say that's only for true collectors. That's a couple of pennies, isn't it? Okay, so you have the hydrostat. And you have the hydrostat. So it comes in 2 flavors here. And, again, another collector's tank in my opinion. We're not doing a review on that. But anyway, so, yeah, enjoy yourself if that's the way you want to go. Very cool. You know me. I have an addiction. Cannot help myself. So that is good to go. And then last but not least, let's now focus in on what we really came to check out. So we have here the Hammer Ultimate. Now, I thought it was called the Mega Bundle, but that's fine. And what is this bad boy? He is... Okay, well, come on, scoot back down. Hammer Ultimate is... Okay, so that's the difference between the Mega and the Ultimate. Is you just have the Tier 7 Tiger. Comes with Dead Eye. Okay, large. Okay, so you do get a dude with 1 skill, couple of equipment, 30 days, OP, and some boostages. Okay, cool. Now, when you jump over to the Mega Pack, same thing I'm eyeballing here. So the Deadeye, the large tank rammer, and hands gunline drive. So you get 3 pieces. Okay, and then yep. And then you get the tier 8, the Kanonenjagdpanzer tank destroyer. No, you get a crew, but nothing magical in there. And then they do give you some pieces of equipment there, which is the gun rammer. And as it scrolls down, it is a GLD and vents. So, okay. All right. So there you go. Looks like it's $21,250 for the whole kit and caboodle. And it's my understanding this is the only way to get the Kanonenjagdpanzer. So if you want it, that's the only way you're going to get it. So let's go ahead and knock it out. Things appear. There you go. We are supporting this game here. Boom. Ching, 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 ching. Okay, so now let's go ahead and grab this bad boy. And yes, we are going to do that. Dun, dun, dun. Yep. Pretty cool. I like the icons. It's pretty neat. Wow, that's a pretty looking tank, isn't it? I think that thing went up through the 60s. Or was it even later? I was reading a little bit about the Kanonenjagdpanzer, and it really existed and all that kind of fun stuff. All right, let's jump into the garage and take a look at this bad boy. I want to make sure my filters are cleared, and we're bringing in the German. It's going to be a 7, it's going to be an 8, and it's going to be a tank destroyer and a heavy. You can see what we are playing with here, and I'm going to just make them a favorite, make it a little simpler on ourselves. And then if I just bring in just that filter there, thank goodness I have filters, it's very cool. And I'm just going to take a moment to kind of just drool over this thing and check it out. I mean, it's a Tiger. Oh, we're going to want to do a cross-reference, aren't we? Oh, yes. I guess I need to slow down. Check this out. Man, that's pretty cool. It's pretty vibrant. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the interesting color scheme, but regardless, big fan of having yet another premium tank to dip in and dip out of. So that's pretty cool. And I'm not going to bother with the specs yet. I'm going to go deeper into that when I bring in the Tiger. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Kanonenjagdpanzer. Now that, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool looking. Huh. Pretty low. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. Now this guy here we can look a little deeper into because, of course, we're not going to be really comparing him to anything else. He is a 90mm, or does have a 90mm gun. And if memory serves, it is, well, we probably should bring in the Indian. I believe he has the same gun as the Indian. And you're looking at a 250 pen on the premium. 212 for standard, 9.52. Huh. Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing's going to play. You can see there's a really fast 46-degree hull traverse. This is, of course, turretless. And you've got a 360-meter view range. At tier 8, that's not a super bunch. All right. Jump out and get started with comparing these two tanks. Let's go ahead and break those things up into two sections of the heavy, the Tiger, and the tier 7 Hammer, which is a Tiger 1 as well, and that is, of course, the premium. So you can see here the non-premium, and you have the premium. So let's go ahead and take a look at the specs themselves. And starting off with something you may be more familiar with, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of the tank itself. So here we have, and we're just going to ignore the two, or shall I say, three lesser packages. Let's just focus on the top package, and the reason being is that they're very similar, and we'll get into that in just a moment. So you can see here we do have in the non-premium Tiger 1. I'll just refer to it as the Tiger from this point forward, and I'll refer to the premium Tiger 1 as the Hammer. So you have the tier 8 turret, tier 8 gun, tier 8 engine, tier 7 treads, and a tier 9 radio. And we'll get into the specs specifically in a moment. Just focus in on, though, you have the 8.8 centimeter quick 43L/71. And by pressing Y, of course, on the console, you can see that we bring up the individual specs for each item there. Now, when you look at the Tiger 1, you're looking at an engine power of 870 for horsepower. The gun itself, I'll just tell you right now, except for one item, which is accuracy, it's going to be exactly the same as the Hammer. The treads, again, of course, we talked about being a different tier, or being the... well, anyway, in this case, it's a 26-degree traverse. And then the turret itself, you're looking at some armor action there of 100, 80, and 80, so front, sides, and rear. The turret traverse is 23 degrees, and the view range is 380. Lastly, the radio is 710. Now, I'll come back to those stats in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Hammer's stats there. And let's go ahead and just pretend you have it memorized, and I'll just recite, as we're looking at the Hammer, I can just recite and reference the Tiger's stats here, so we can just kind of compare. So as you're looking at the Hammer, you can see, starting off with the engine, you're looking at, the Tiger was 870 horsepower, and then you're looking at the Hammer at 700. So already you can imagine there's going to be a speed, a weight to power ratio discrepancy there, where the Hammer is going to be a little on the slower side. You're looking at the gun, and again, looking at the gun here in front of you for the hammer. Everything's the same. It's still the 8.8 quick 43, L71, 8.96 rounds for the reload time, penetration, still the same as far as 203 and 237, 44, and then damages of 44, 240, 240, and 295. But if you look over at the aiming time of 2.70, still exactly the same as a non. But the hammer, compared to the Tiger, is a whopping 0.01 better in regards to the accuracy. Don't know if that's really making much of a difference, but I'll take it. So 0.34 for the Tiger. The hammer is 0.33. The treads here you're looking at for the Tiger as well as the hammer is 26 degrees according to this for the whole traverse. So that is interesting to note, and we're gonna take a double take a look at that in just a moment. The turret again 180. Now the hammer, you can see, is 20 degrees for a traverse speed. The Tiger is 23, so you've lost 3 degrees in the turret rotation. And then here you can see that the hammer can see at 380 meters according to the internal specs that we're looking at here. And then the Tiger 1 says 380. So from this vantage point, there is no view range loss, only a turret traverse loss. Lastly, you have the radio signal. And in the hammer, it's 620 meters, meaning that you can get that information relayed to you from another tank, like say they are spotting something that's out of your range, etc. And the Tiger 1 is 710. Now here is where I'm going to start scratching my head. Okay, so here we go. Or you just, if you go to the, your garage and you hover over your tank and you press the Y button, it comes up with this format here. I don't even know what the proper term is. It's kind of like an overview. It doesn't show you the individual component or module details, which we just went over, but I do have them in front of me. Although you can't see them, I have them for reference. But if you look at the overviews data, on the right-hand side, you can see the Tiger 1 has 1,500 hit points. If I skip over here to the hammer, you're looking at 50 more hit points. Now, that's not a discrepancy, that's just a fact, and they're just sharing it with us. Meanwhile, armor, as I flick back and forth, you can see that is exactly the same. Speed, according to this overview, is exactly the same. So I'm going to assume, if all things have not changed, the speed limit-wise, you are looking at a top speed that is the same in both tanks. However, the difference being that as we were looking at the individual modules, based on the horsepower discrepancy, meaning a difference between the two, you can see that the hammer does have a decrease in its acceleration, and that makes logical sense. Now you have the chassis rotation. It says 26 degrees for rotating. So my assumption is that the soft stat, the resistance to the ground, I guess means it has not changed, because if it did, I would assume it would affect rotation as well as movement in a forward and rear fashion. And again, speed limit wise, it doesn't seem to have been adjusted, because the top speed limit is still the same. Again, only acceleration, but that was done via the horsepower decrease. Rate of fire, again, staying the same. And then view range, 380 meters, staying the same. And then camouflage, staying the same. So, there you go. I mean, that's kind of the breakdown of what it is. And as far as equipment wise, it is, for all intents and purposes, it's really set up, as the package comes with, it's really set up in the same fashion that I've set up my Tiger 1. So the hammer and the Tiger have the exact same equipment setup. And now it's just a matter of setting up the consumables. Panzer, just because from the preliminary data, the closest thing as far as gun is concerned to the Kanonenjagdpanzer, I'm just going to call him the Kanon, is this gun here, which would be the top package to the Indian Panzer, or it'd be the entry-level package to the Leopard PTA. Now, at first, before we get too excited, let's just take a quick look and see what's going on here. I'll go ahead and record this stats and keep it in front of me so we can discuss it later as we're comparing it. But you can see here, this is a 9-centimeter cannon, or, I mean, we can just say 90 millimeter for all intents and purposes. And just kind of take a look at that data there. Stepping away from this guy here, let's open him up and take a look at his information. Now, this is a tier 8 gun. Remember, be mindful, this guy is going to be seeing tier 10 tank. So I'm going to go ahead and just predict that there's going to be some challenges. It is a premium tank after all. But when you look at non-premium tank destroyers, they have access at the end of their grind. They have access to tier 10 guns, whether it's the tier 8 French tank destroyer, or the American, French tank destroyer. Your last package is a tier 10 gun. This is a tier 8 gun, so you need to keep that in mind. So moving on, the cannon from the Indian Panzer is a 9 centimeter. This one here, they're calling a 90 millimeter. Which is, interesting. I don't know why they're switching back from centimeters to millimeters. There might be some engineering reason behind that, or just might be just a editorial fluke. So let's go ahead and take a look at, well, the closest thing in my mind would be the 9 centimeter cannon, and compare it to this information here. And so taking a look at this stats here, the cannon is up in front of us, and I'll just go ahead and recite to you the Indian Panzer's the gun information. Now, it is an 8.33 rounds per minute for the 9 centimeter cannon. This is I'm sorry, did I say 8.33? I hope I did. And then this one here is a 9.52. So already you're seeing it's going to be slower to do a reload, or to have a reload on the Kanonenjagdpanzer. Meanwhile, we do have the penetration at 212 and 250 for for this tank here. On the cannon, the 9 centimeter cannon, it's 212 and 259. The HE, interestingly enough, for the 9 centimeter cannon is 45, which is, that sounds very predictable. Interestingly though, I was caught a tad bit off guard that it's a fairly higher HE 102 for this particular gun. Meanwhile, you're looking at a damage of 240, 240, and 320 respectively. Which matches exactly to the 9 centimeter cannon on the Indian Panzer. So it's almost, although premium wise you're still losing nine points or 9 millimeters of penetration. For all intents and purposes, I feel like this tank destroyer, it kind of has the feel of a mid to low module tank destroyer at tier 8. So you will be kind of challenged there. Aim time, at least that's a better story. The 9 centimeter cannon is a 2.7 aim time, whereas this guy's a 2, which is, that's pretty decent. Accuracy, much better than the 9 centimeter cannon, which was 0.34. This guy here is 0.31, so a lot more accurate. Not too bad there. And then as far as hull traverse, for the rest of the details of the Kanonenjagdpanzer, you can see there that the hull traverse is 46 degrees, which is pretty darn lickety split. And this is a turretless tank destroyer. The engine there has 500 horsepower, but again, it depends on all the weight and that sort of thing to see if it really, what that really means to this individual tank. There is no turret, so there is no turret armor to discuss. And view range is 360 meters. Signal range is 750. And if you were to go ahead and take a look at this thing from the overview standpoint, you can see there that it's 1200 hit points. Very fast at 70 kilometers per hour. Acceleration looks pretty darn good. Granted, they're two different, it's apples and oranges, but because it was already up, I'm just flicking back and forth, and you can see there, even though this guy has 630 horsepower, look at the acceleration due to the weight. Yikes, big difference. Chassis rotation, like I said, was pretty darn fast, and rate of fire is there, and camouflage is a high rating. I wish there was a clearer way to have some better metrics on that, but that is what it is in the game. You can also see that it did come with a gun rammer, a GLD, and a improved ventilation. I think the GLD it would be a much better way to go versus a gun stabilizer, given the opportunity to have both due to the nature of this particular tank. But I kind of question, with a .2 aim time, I kind of question if a GLD is even the right way to go on this particular tank. But more on that when we get into the individual tanks themselves. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to back out, and I'm going to select the tank destroyer versus the hammer. We're going to outfit him and look at each individual tank on its own. By the way, just a real quick note. Isn't it interesting? Is it just me, or doesn't it just give you the visual impression of more of a derpy sort of vibe to it? you know, when you look at the barrel itself, and I know that's not the end all. I mean, it is armor piercing as far as that is concerned. Heats, you know, as far as the premium, and then, you know, HE for HE duh. But you know, if I were just to visually look at this thing, I don't know. My first instinct was, oh, look at that, it's more derpy than something else, considering tier and knowing that it's a 90 millimeter. Meanwhile, I mean, look at this. Typically when I'm seeing the 90 millimeters, or in this case a 9 centimeter, you know, armor piercing types of barrels, or shells that go through, you know, types of barrels would be more on the longer side, more of that quicker accelerated projectile kind of motif. Anyways, what do I know? So let's go ahead and jump into the individual tanks and start dressing them up. The two of them here, we've given ourselves a little bit of privacy and having an intimate look here at these two. I'm going to start off with the hammer, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take care of any of the cosmetic possibilities. Now, I have not opened this up. I have no idea what I'm going to see, but there are some tanks that they don't let us mess around with on the outside, and survey says, there you go. Camouflage unavailable. So I am going to assume, I hope it is safe to assume, that what you see here, the cosmetic designs on the outside, will be considered a camouflage bonus, but be advised, you cannot alter it. I believe it was the Ripper that, even though it had its paint scheme face on the front, you can still add camouflage to it. But anyways, moving on. All right, so emblem. I'd be remiss if I did not make this mine. There are many tanks like this, and I'm sure some of you have just finished the rest of that phrase, of that saying. All right, let's get him up there. All right, so there we go. Boom, looking good, like I know you should. Cool, very, very cool. I like it a lot. All right, so it is what it is. Equipment wise, we're really not going to touch any of that. It is good to go. Now this is a premium tank, so I'm going to do a little something different. Well, different meaning versus the non-premiums, I guess. And that is, I'm just going with my simple standard routine. No secret there. I don't hide anything from you guys. You can see here I just run with some consumables, and then I run with the small here and the small there. So that's pretty much how I roll for my typical loadout. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and set this guy up, and be interesting to compare. I'll bet you it's very similar, but it would have been interesting to compare the ammo as well, and maybe I'll jump on that in a moment. Going to go ahead and throw in, I'm going to do 10 of these. And trying to balance it out, because I am not smart enough to even do the math ahead of time to figure out what is what. And there you go. Okay, so just for kicks, I'm going to go with 31, 31, and 10. Now remember, this is a tier 7. That will see all the way up to tier 9. Go ahead and back out, and cha-ching. That was some Monet, and that's pretty simple. There's not much more to do. We will be changing out our crew. In fact, yeah, we'll put him in there in a minute. Let's not worry about it. But I'm going to be running a different guy in this when I go ahead and test it out. However, I'm not going to dismiss that guy because he already has a sweet, you know, already one skill is already done. So that's pretty cool. And that's it. So that is it for the hammer. Whoa, what did I do that for? That is it for the hammer. And now we're going to go ahead and dress up the Kanonenjagdpanzer itself. So here you go. Again, first I'm going to knock out some cosmetics, and of course you can see here you do have camouflage available. I'm going to start off with the emblems, just because I'm funny like that. And there you go. I'm hustling. So taking a break from the grind of the PTA, the leopard there, to enjoy the first day that this guy came out. And now we're going to jump into some camouflage. And you know, lately I've been really going with the solid white, but I don't know, I wish you guys had a voting system we can do this live. I think what I'll do is you know, I think I will go straight white. I was almost going with the other one. I'm tempted just to pretty much just go with the same thing as I usually do, but I never want to assume, because for some, well, not for some reason, but just the way the skins are, as they're stretched over the different shapes, of the tank itself. Some skins look better. The one individual skin may look better on one tank and not so much on another, in my humble opinion. So, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'll be boring. I think I'll go with him. Yep, I'm sensing a theme here. Yeah, I already know what I'm going to do. I like this guy. So I'm going to go with this one here. Sight unseen. Look at that. Pretty exciting. I don't know if this is... come on, I just want to see it. Abracadabra. And reveal yourself. There you go. That's pretty cool. Alright, so the last but not least. Yeah, I like that. I like that 50-50. Yep. Okay, cool. And there you go. So now we are fully dressed here in the Kanon. And I'm not really sure if I'm going to stick with that equipment now. I may take it out for a spin just to get a feel for it. And then, you know, go a step further with it later because, again, it doesn't really matter how fast you aim in. Well, unless, okay, except for when you're moving and you're waiting for that first shot. And he is, and I will say this, he is a turretless, so maybe, you know, you're going to be hopping around a lot with your looking left, looking right. But the worst thing you want to do is get aimed in on somebody, fire, and then you've reloaded, or excuse me, you've aimed in because you have your GLD, and you're still waiting for the reload. So it might make more sense to not even have that GLD, but we'll see. We'll give it a try later. Seeing if we need to mess around with that. Now, consumable-wise, pretty much we're running out of things to modify, which is absolutely fine. Go ahead and do that, and do with my typical. We just went through this with the hammer. And then over here, kind of looking at, so you're looking at, what is that, 62? Possibility there. And then HE, you know, I don't know, because sometimes I like to track somebody. So maybe I'll be conservative. Go with just 5. Now this guy is going to see all the way up to tier 10, so kind of makes you scratch your head. Maybe I'll go with that direction. I don't know. I could always change it later. So abracadabra. There you go. And yeah, these guys are set up. Good to go. And other than getting in a different crew for that guy and this guy, we'll take them for a spin in our next segment. That's pretty much it, guys. You know, for wrapping up this particular chunk, we've acquired it, taken a look at it, we've compared it, and dressed her up, got all the equipment good to go, and now it's just a matter of taking it for a test spin. That'll be our next step. Here we go. Now, where did my crew go off to? Oh, I see. There they are. Okay, girls, tell them who they are if they're receiving this transmission.
Well, you are one of the 47 Ronin. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.